Look at Portland's road record and how they stood through the whole season.
Blazers at 500 on the road. Washington, the last NBA team to win at home. 1-4. They're coming off a big win over Boston on Saturday night. Kevin Fair, Dick Pavetta, and Monty McCutcheon are the officials. We're glad you're with us on the Blazers Television Network. Washington with it first. Felipe Lopez missing against Scottie Pippen, and Rasheed Wallace the first rebound of the basketball game. Blazers, of course, coming off the 110-102 win at Orlando on Sunday in overtime.
Well, Washington took away the first opportunity to get the ball down on a post to Steve Smith, so Portland is working against the clock with Pippen air ball.
And that'll be a shot clock violation against the Blazers. And Steve, that was something that we saw repeatedly on Sunday. Blazers fighting the shot clock.
No, they took a lot of time to try to get into what they wanted to do. So I think one of the things that will help them win the ball game is to get into their set a little bit quicker, and that way they won't have to fight the clock on every possession.
Howard against Wallace. Former teammates, Howard. Juwan Howard averaging 16.3 points per ball game. Is Washington on the board. Damon against Strickland. 10 to shoot. Had it knocked away. Felipe Lopez with the steal.
Now, Lopez is really a dangerous player out in the open court, but helps Portland out by just laying that ball out there and getting it knocked away. Turnover. Pippen finally corrals it.
Scottie a couple of steals and finds Steve Smith against Strickland. Mike Dunleavy calling for an illegal defense. Steve Smith to the rim and in. Scottie Pippen really getting the play started for the Blazers with a steal. He's now over 2,000, picked up steal 2,000 in Sunday's game against Orlando. Strickland with a miss and a loose ball foul against the Wizards.
That's a problem for Heidi White, and undersized but a big strong guy trying to use his size and strength to get to the glass, becomes right through the back of Dale Davis. First personal for him.
Now White has been plagued by foul problems really all season long. Former Georgetown standout.
The Wizards have scouted Portland. They know that this is the most dangerous player on the floor. They get the ball into him for the first time. Wallace with a miss.
Dale Davis with the offensive rebound. Dale gets it back from Scottie, attacking the rim, and fouled by Lopez. Felipe Lopez came over from Vancouver.
Dale Davis is capable of making the shot. Everybody knows it, so now they run at Dale Davis, and White goes flying by. Lopez trying to help out. Thought he got the block. Dale Davis on the line.
Dale Davis, the leading offensive rebounder in the NBA this season, and one of the best all time. His free throw shooting has been much improved this season at 74%. He misses a pair and gets his own miss. Pippen in traffic, and he is fouled, says Dick Pavetta. Juwan Howard picks up the foul, his first.
The best way to really describe the Wizards is they're inconsistent. Sometimes they don't react to the ball. They don't react to the play. They end up waving and reaching, and they get themselves in trouble. So Pippen will go back to the line.
Pippen cashes the first, and Steve, when you look statistically at this Washington group, what beats them is them giving up offensive rebounds and sending you to the free throw multiple times. This Washington team commits a lot of fouls.
Well, Washington over the last 4 or 5 seasons has been a team when they had Weber, Howard, and really a very talented crew that played more for the show. Now they've eliminated some of that, but they still beat themselves with the decision making, and that's why you got those numbers.
Howard along with the jumper. Here come the Blazers up 4-2. Smith against Richmond. Steve with the size advantage. Pippen by himself, but he couldn't finish. Damon was ready to chalk up an assist. Pippen with a steal. And Damon will finish that one. So the Blazer defense, Steve, has done a nice job of getting hands on passes.
They've been active with their hands, and that's created some problems for the Wizards, and that's why one of the keys was to have pressure on the ball. Most of their shots are going to come from right out there. They're not going to get many chances to get offensive rebounds. Richmond.
One of the better three-point shooters in the NBA, connecting at 47% from beyond the arc this season. Davis against White. Rasheed's open, and he hits. Rasheed had that huge first quarter Sunday night in Orlando as he finished with 37, one off his career high. And Leonard Hamilton, the new head coach of the Wizards, says, I don't like the way things are going. He calls timeout. 4 minutes gone in the first quarter. The Blazers out to an 8-2 lead. We're back to Washington after this.
$329 a month leases Tundra, Toyota's big I-Force V8 powered truck. Now look closer at one incredible deal on a roomy, full-size 2001 Tundra. Now just $329 a month for 48 months with just $2,804 due at signing. Leases Tundra, the fastest growing half-ton full-size pickup in the Northwest. Look closer at your Toyota dealer today. Only $329 a month for Tundra? Better hurry.
Looking for a different deal every day? Then there's nothing like your Northwest McDonald's. Introducing our 99-cent different days, different deals. Like Mondays, when you can get our famous Big Mac for an incredible 99 cents. Or 99-cent 6-piece Chicken McNuggets Tuesdays. Or Big and Tasty Wednesdays for a 99-cent Big and Tasty sandwich. Or Thursdays, when our double cheeseburger is just 99 cents. McDonald's, different days, different deals. A 99-cent deal any day of the week.
At McDonald's, we love to see you smile.
Northwest Ford dealers and the Blazers have teamed up to raise money for the Dornbecker Children's Hospital. For every Blazers slam dunk, Ford will donate $50 to Dornbecker Children's Hospital, courtesy of the Northwest Ford dealers. Dornbecker has received $900 so far this season, courtesy of slam dunks like that from the fourth quarter hero Fonzie Wells. And after Juwan Howard hit a jumper, the Blazers have scored the last 8 in the last 2 minutes and 15 seconds.
And the Wizards have looked very disorganized, not knowing where they want to go to get a shot, and then what to do after the ball's gone in the air. 10 on the clock for Howard.
Lopez trying to drive and dish on the deck, and Jahidi White comes up with it, and not a pretty possession for Washington by any stretch.
You know, you hear players and coaches talk about this all the time, and it's playing hard, and that means that everybody is ready to play and they're focused, and they don't make mistakes like Lopez just made, where you leave the player and the pass is totally under control, and Pippen ends up with an easy 2.
Rasheed averaging 3 assists per ball game, and the Blazers 3-0 assists here early, coming up on 5 minutes gone by first quarter. White with the jump hook. And Pippen the rebound. One and done for the Wizards. Steve Smith, aggressive move. And drawing the foul on the way to the rim. Dick Bavetta says it's Felipe Lopez on the pass-off.
Lopez does a lot of things well on that defensive series, and he's looking and saying, well, where did I get the foul? And they may have said, well, you put that chest on him, but he was moving his feet the entire way. That's going to get a slashing Richard Hamilton into the ball game. Didn't he look bigger when he was playing for Connecticut?
He did. I think
he's gotten smaller.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be 6'7". He's like about 6'3" now. He may be getting smaller because it's cold outside.
Arvydas Sabonis in the ball game for the first time tonight. That's 14 fouls against the Wizards. Steve feeding Rasheed. Oh! Emphatically from Rasheed, and Steve the assist. Rasheed with 4 early, and the Blazers flexing their muscle in the paint. And Monty McCutcheon whistles a foul against Scottie Pippen.
You know, watch the pick and roll and watch how easily Wallace gets open, and that's a concern. You know, forget about the power on the throwdown. The fact that he's wide open, this is going to happen all night long if they don't start pressuring the ball and reacting.
Third on the NBA dunk chart. Howard in deep. Blocked by Sabonis and out of bounds. It'll stay with Washington, 9 to shoot. The Blazers, the top shot blocking outfit in the NBA. That's 7.3 per ball game. Richard Hamilton, they call him Rip, will let it rip. And an ugly miss, and Howard dunks it through.
Pretty good effort by Howard that time to get the ball and then to fight his way through for that dunk.
Blazers up 6. Damon with a fake. Savas is open. It's a good look for Arvydas. Couldn't put it down. Strickland a quick release. Rod Strickland shooting 45% from the floor and averaging 15.2 points per ball game. Washington's second leading scorer.
Well, Strickland is dangerous when he decides he wants to play. And what we're looking for is to see whether his eyes have that look in it that he wants to get it done. On a bust out, Mitch Richmond for 2.
And the Wizards are within 2. And they were able to put away the Celtics early on Saturday night. A 27-2 edge in fast break points for Washington. And Boston never really got in the ball game. Sabonis will get another try. And Strickland the rebound. Howard running the floor against Sabonis. And an offensive foul on Juwan Howard. Dick Bavetta makes the call. Howard unhappy, as you would expect, and he's picked up his second.
Howard committed himself to the shot right there, so there's no way that he cannot move out of the way of Sabonis, who was clearly out in front of the line. Howard's problem was, and he wanted that hoop so badly that he didn't get himself under control. He probably could have taken one shorter step and gotten by Sabonis. Now he goes out of the ball game. Michael Smith comes in, and that gives them better rebounding, but they lose a lot of offensive punch, but Howard goes to the bench.
Smith is a hustle guy and a rebounder more than anything else. Smith against Richmond, stripped on the way in, and apparently off of Steve and out of bounds to Washington.
Now, the next time down, we'll talk about defense. Your favorite thing, Pete, and you'll see why Washington has a tough time with Portland because of their defensive posture, no pressure on the ball, their hands are down, and notice how Portland is out further in challenging the ball, making it more difficult for the Wizards to get into what they want.
Hamilton, tough shot, and Rasheed Wallace, I thought he had the rebound, but Smith was there to knock it away, and Strickland knocks another one in from the perimeter, and we're all even at 12 after the Blazers led at 8-2.
Now, you see those three guys, see how their hands are all down, and they're just letting the ball move, and they're watching. And if they came up and put some pressure on Damon Stoudemire, he wouldn't be able to just stand there, pound that ball, do whatever he wants. Now they're going to react to Pippen in the post.
Scotty firing and hitting over Mitch Richmond. Pippen with 6 early, so Scotty a little more aggressive offensively than he has been as of late. White against Sabonis. Arvydas pulling off the rebound. Pippen. Rasheed Wallace with a little something extra on that one.
Now, Wallace is, a guy that is extremely quick for his size. He just beat everybody down the floor. An easy hoop for him, again, right at the rim. Richard Hamilton.
Second-year man out of UConn. That's his first score against the Blazers. He played just 12 minutes in the 2 games last year and missed all 4 of his shots. Wallace pulling up.
I guess they don't know you can't let him have an open shot. 8 1/4 for Wallace.
So as soon as Washington pulls even, Blazers again showing good patience. Hamilton will let it fly from 3. And a loose ball foul called against Rasheed Wallace. 2:42 to go, first quarter. Blazers lead the Wizards by 4.
Why let beautiful memories lie forgotten in a drawer when it's so easy to drop your film off at Fred Meyer? And since they use Kodak picture processing, you know your photos will turn out every bit as vivid as your memories. You'll find it at Fred Meyer.
It changed the rules. And with each innovation...
This is a national sales alert from Dodge. Effective immediately, you can get low 0.9 financing for 60 months on 2000 Dodge Dakota and Dodge Durango. You can now save over $4,000 on Dakota and save more than $5,600 on Durango. You can still get 0.9 shorter-term financing on 2001 Dodge Ram or up to $2,000 cash allowance.
Magnum Power. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
A 4-minute mile. A pole vault of 20 feet. A perfect 10. The experts said these could never happen. What do they know?
Pillsbury Family Fun Night at the Rose Garden comes up this Saturday the 25th when the Blazers host the New Jersey Nets. You get 4 tickets, 4 dogs, 4 sodas, and a game program for $39, $59, or $89. And every game attendee will receive a free collectible Rasheed Wallace poster courtesy of Jammin' 95.5. Tickets are available now at the Rose Quarter Ticket Office, all Ticketmaster locations, or call 1-800-4-NBA-TICKS or go to www.blazers.com. And we invite you to tune in to KGW Northwest News Channel 8 tomorrow at 5:30 to watch the Blazers take on the Bucks from the Bradley Center. Well, Rasheed can do it in the paint. He can do it from the perimeter as well. And as we talked about at the top of the broadcast, probably playing the best all-around basketball of his career. Foul against Rasheed here first, and 2 against the Blazers here in the quarter as Richmond comes up firing.
You know, when Richmond was really a consistent offensive threat, a guy that was going to get around 25 a game, he was a guy that came off a lot of screens, and the ball was right there when he came clean. Here in Washington, it's a lot of one-on-one, so you never know when you're going to get the ball. Sabonis indeed.
Cherokee Park's into the ball game for Jahidi White. And Sabonis can take advantage of Park's defense all night long. The Blazers already with a dozen of their 20 points in the paint. Smith stripped by Pippen. Out of bounds. The Wizards will keep 12 to shoot. And Pippen been very active defensively early.
Well, the one thing that's good about Portland's defense is that it is aggressive on the ball, and it's making it difficult for the Wizards really to get into the offense. Strickland again.
Rod Strickland's beginning to feel it.
3 in a row for Rod Strickland. And when Strickland has that perimeter jumper going from about 18 feet, that's when it becomes a real problem to deal with because he still can get by anybody off the dribble. Parks with the knee.
He commits his first personal. That is 5 against Washington. So the penalty in effect, that'll put Arvidas at the line to shoot 1 plus the penalty.
Didn't he go to Notre Dame?
No, he's a Dookie. Cherokee Parks.
almost sworn that they had tattoos like that at Notre Dame. The Illustrated Man, that's what he's on his way to becoming, a disciple of Dennis Rodman, and he works on a different part of his body every year during the off-season, so he's got the flames on the left forearm, upper arm this year.
A couple of free throws for Sabonis. Blazer lead is 4. Hamilton finding Richmond against Pippen. Parks. Smith. Michael Smith did not score Saturday against Boston in 16 minutes, but did have 7 rebounds, and the Wizards hanging around here.
But he's an energy player. You know, get down, get the rebounds, try to play tough defense, and get anything off the glass while it's short.
But right to Pippen, who scoops it in. Richmond on a push and a pull. And the field goal percentage for Washington rapidly on the rise. They came in 12th in the league at 44.1. Got off to a very cold start, just 17% at the first break. Steve Smith, top shot.
Well, you know, Richmond has dropped a couple on Smith. You knew he was going to try to be getting back in the scoring column himself. Hamilton wide open.
And right now, Washington draining everything from outside. They shot 55% against Boston in that win, and apparently some of that magic hasn't worn off.
Well, they're a jump shooting team, and when they're on and they're making their shots, they're going to stay with you. The problem is they don't get anything easy and inside, and that creates a problem. They knock the ball away from each other, and Portland gets it back.
Parks couldn't save it. Shot clock is on. Final 12 seconds of the first quarter. Rasheed, oh! Pippen brought it to him, but Sheed couldn't finish. Strickland, scored in a three-point chance for Michael Smith. And the Wizards, with 2.5 to go in the first, can grab the lead.
Again, the energy, the effort, the hustle, that's what Michael Smith is all about. He chases that ball down, dips it back up as you see the clock running down. And he'll have a chance for a three-point play with 2.5 left in the first period of play.
Rod Strickland will sit down, and Chris Whitney, eighth-year man out of Clemson, will check in for him, and we'll also get Gerard King into the ball game, and Rich Richmond will get an additional rest here for the final 2.5 of the first quarter. Well, it's like Damon Stoudemire said after the after the Orlando game. We get everybody's best shot. Ball's loose as the horn goes off, and we've played 12 minutes from our nation's capital. The Wizards' hot outside shooting has them even with the Blazers, 26 aside.
Introducing 2 incredible new Toyota SUVs for 2001. Now, look closer at the completely new Toyota Sequoia. With seating for 8, plenty of power, and an ultra-smooth ride. Look closer at RAV4. Totally redesigned, more powerful, and $800 less than last year's model. Now, there's a Toyota SUV for everyone. Look closer at your Toyota dealer today. So many Toyotas, so little time. Hurry!
Are you still just sitting here? Boy, get up off your lazy butt. Nothing ever came to anybody just sitting around drinking Sprite all day.
Oh, really?
Now, the more Sprite you drink, the more you can buy. Under every tap, you can get a free Sprite or a Rocket Cash. Online money you can use at Sprite.com. Drink Sprite, get Rocket Cash. Buy what you want.
And pick up all of these little things because they're everywhere.
Wanna find a number out of town, Verizon has the number down. 111. Whether Tampa Bay or Retail or all across the USA. Yeah. 411. Don't need no area codes to search from coast to coast. 411. National Directory Assistance from Verizon. Find anyone anywhere.
Just how good is Les Schwab's studless snow tire? The Observe. To know for sure, observe. Traction. Cornering. Stopping. and this is on ice in a hockey arena. Case closed. Tests show the snow tire to ask for is the Observe. If you can't remember the name, remember the place. Les Schwab. Studs if you need them, and if you don't, the studded tire alternative, the Observe.
Tonight's game is...
Here. Boy, get up off your lazy butt. Nothing ever came to anybody just sitting around drinking Sprite all day.
Oh, really?
Now, the more Sprite you drink, the more you can buy. Under every cap, you can get a free Sprite or a Rocket Cash. Online money you can use at Sprite.com. Drink Sprite, get Rocket Cash. Buy what you want.
And pick up all of these little things because they're everywhere.
3.9% APR financing. No wonder Camry's been the #1 selling car in America. Now, look closer at one incredible opportunity to get 3.9% financing on a new Camry. That's super low 3.9% APR financing, even on a sleek new 2001 Camry Solara. Great warranties, great safety features, great car. Look closer at your Toyota dealer today. 3.9% APR on Camry. Wow!
Jack, welcome to Signs and Stuff and Things.
Yeah, I got this spicy chicken sandwich with just the right amount of spice. And it's served hot because we won't make it till you order it. But here's the big thing. It's real chicken breast. You got a sign like that? No. 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 No! Real chicken breast! How do you stay in business?
How fast can I get a chipmunk tube top sign?
Want to apologize for the transmission problems that we've been having from the MCI Center, but the picture is back and all is well here with tonight's telecast. Rebound, located at the Rose Quarter, is the official orthopedist of the Portland Trailblazers. Call 503-REBOUND for your orthopedic and physical therapy needs. Well, the Blazers right now lead it 36-32. Greg Anthony hitting a couple of triples, keeping the Blazers in front, but Washington continuing to fire away from the outside and finding an element of success here as Chris Whitney is in the ball game, along with Juwan Howard, Gerard King, Richard Hamilton, and Jahidi White, and Whitney battling the clock. And Sean Kemp unable to get the rebound, but Kemp does pick up his second personal foul against Whitney. And the Blazers now have gone from no team fouls to 4 team fouls in short order.
And, you know, it's a lot of reaching and grabbing at this stage, and a little bit slow reacting by the Trailblazers has got them in trouble. And, you know, the Wizards now getting a little bit freer ball movement. Howard against Wallace.
Couple of fakes and a block, and Kevin Fair with a foul call against Rashid, and that'll be the 5th team foul against the Blazers. So for 8 minutes and 10 seconds, the remainder of the second quarter, Washington shooting free throws.
It's a good block by Wallace from the rear. He gets off his feet, comes back, makes a good reaction, but in getting the ball, he brought his arm down and got it against the forearm of Juwan Howard, so Howard goes to the line.
Juwan Howard, a 70 or 67% free throw shooter. Rashid, his second. One of 2 for Juwan Howard, and the Blazer lead is 3.
Well, you know, save the 2 3-point field goals by Greg Anthony. The Trailblazers haven't been sharp here in the second quarter play at the offensive end.
Bonzi with a quick move and a finger roll.
You see how quickly he can get inside. I mean, they're just a physical strength difference, and Wells knows that he's overpowering. So what Portland needs to do is give him room to work against Richard Hamilton every time.
Wizards will go to Howard against Wallace, and Bonzi the interception. Blazers in transition. Greg was open momentarily for a 3. Dale Davis, good feed. Kemp, the reverse. Won't go. Dale Davis offensive rebound. Bonzi directing traffic, wants to go against Hamilton, and a blocking foul against Hamilton, and that will be his second foul. And Bonzi Wells making good things happen, Steve, with his aggression.
You know, he knows that this guy can't handle him physically, and so he's trying to use his quickness, get the ball on the floor, get to the rim. And Leonard Hamilton, first-year coach for the Wizards, recognizes that, gets Mitch Richmond back in the game along with Rod Strickland and Felipe Lopez. They're still a small team as Portland has Wallace, Kemp, and Dale Davis on the front line.
Washington is always a small team. Kemp to the baseline, traveled with the basketball. Turnover story is even at 5. The turnover story solidly in the Blazers' favor Sunday night when they converted 21 Orlando turnovers into 22 points. Strickland. Finally a miss from him. Dale Davis with a good outlet. Bonzi with a burst of speed. That was last touched, I believe, by Washington. And
Lopez decided to reach out and try to handle it and never got his hands on it other than to let it go off his hand, and Portland will get it back.
Blazers up 5, 6:48 to go, second quarter. Anthony and Strickland.
What's happening is Portland's getting mismatches with Dale Davis against the small guy. Finally gets him the ball, but he can't finish that one inside.
And the Blazers come away with it because Mitch Richmond had ended up on Dale Davis defensively, and Dale did everything but put the ball in the basket.
In the play before, see, look at the lineup. Richmond is guarding Dale Davis to start with, and now they're going to come back down on the low box in his direction. Kemp, quick shot from the outside.
The other way, Lopez. Washington back within 3. Davis against Lopez. Everywhere you look, the Blazers taller than the person guarding them. 10 to shoot. Dale Davis against Lopez. To a cutting Rasheed. And Rasheed cocked the hammer and threw it down.
You know, the Wizards have to make an adjustment because every time down the floor they're going to have a big guy inside, be it Wallace Davis or Kemp, and then they're trying to react to that, and that's creating easy opportunities elsewhere.
Jahidi White draws the foul, scores the hoop. It's not pretty for Washington, but it's effective. Foul on Shawn Kemp. Timeout on the floor. 5:37 to go in the second. The Blazers lead it by 3.
Slide around and out from 18. Rebound White to Strickland.
Are coming to an arena near you. It's the ultimate showcase of incredible athleticism, spontaneous creativity, and uncontrollable excitement. NBA action is now playing, so join the drive for a championship when it comes to your town, live and in person. Tickets are on sale. Go to NBA.com or call 800-4NBA-TICKS.
Traction ready. At Les Schwab, it means selection. In stock, over 500,000 snow tires being delivered day and night. Each employee dedicated to make sure you get the snow tires that are right for you. Studs or studless. Put them on snow wheels to save time and money. Chains, a complete selection featuring quick fit. Easy on, easy off. Batteries, too, for cold winter starts. Check your list and check in. Les Schwab, traction ready for you.
This is Tom. He makes Archway cookies. Dad taught him how. This is Bee. She's been baking Archway cookies for over 40 years. Her son waves to her every day. Her grandson wants to be an Archway driver someday. In every Archway bakery, you'll see generations of people who enjoy the work they do and the product they make. Not hard to believe when you bite into a just like homemade Archway cookie. And remember that you've enjoyed them for generations too. Archway. Good cookies made by good people.
A Blazers 5-game ticket package makes a great holiday gift. 5 games for just $115. And if you buy 2 packages, you'll receive a $25 gift certificate to the store in Studio X. Call 503-797-9600 for more information. As we were going to break, Sean Kemp not happy with the call by Kevin Fair, ejected from the ball game, and Rasheed Wallace acting as peacemaker and telling Sean to walk away.
No, he never let him come back. The smart thing by Rasheed Wallace to stay right in front of Sean Kemp, who ended up getting 2 technicals after the foul. So he had 3 personal fouls and 2 technicals in the short period of time that he was in. Wallace trying to do a little politicking with Dick Bavetta at center court as Mitch Richmond shoots the technical.
Well, Rasheed has matured. You can see the maturation of Rasheed Wallace as the season has evolved, despite the fact that we're just a dozen games in for the Blazers. So Richmond converts both technical free throws. The Wizards within 1. Now, Jahidi White scored the basket and will get 1 free throw. This could be a 5-point trip for Washington. Steve Smith is in the ball game along with Bonzi Wells, Greg Anthony, Rasheed Wallace, and Dale Davis. So a 5-point trip down the floor for Washington, and all of a sudden we're back to even at 40.
And again, when you talk about winning on the road, Portland has had the lead. They've been able to do what they want, but they've allowed Washington to stay close. This is what makes it difficult. Portland needs to try to put the hammer down and discourage Washington. Now Washington's starting to believe they can, win the game.
Greg with the 3, and he hits again. Shot clock winding down. Greg Anthony, his 3rd triple. Juwan Howard against Wallace. Back to Howard. And right there for the rebound, Felipe Lopez. Back up in traffic and goaltended out of there. And so give the basket to Felipe Lopez.
You've got 3 players that you know are pretty good offensive players in Strickland, Mitch Richmond, and Juwan Howard. The other 2 guys are activity guys. You've got to make sure you've got bodies on them. Steve Smith trying to go to work against Lopez down low.
Steve backing down, scoring, and he'll go to the line for a 3-point chance. Lopez has picked up his 3rd.
Again, the big guard or even the small forward have really taken to being bruising at the offensive end. Steve Smith coming in with a good pop with the shoulder, and then getting Lopez off balance, comes right back and goes up. A chance for a 3-point play.
Richard Hamilton will return for Washington.
You get the better offensive player coming back in, but he's even less of a physical player, so Steve Smith is going to have an easy time with him as well.
Hamilton at 6'6" and 185. Steve Smith at 6'8". 4.5 to go. Quarter number 2. Blazers by 4, and a takeaway by Portland. 2-on-1 if they hurry. And Greg Anthony. Get on. Greg Anthony 4 for 4. 3 triples and that one, giving the Blazers a 6-point lead after the fast break broke down. Blazers with 5 steals. Howard nearly at his pocket pick by Greg Anthony. Tough look, and Bonzi the rebound. Bonzi wants to take it to the rim, finds Greg spotting up another 3. And Strickland pulls off the rebound. Now here comes Strickland in transition. Foul. He'll shoot 2. Greg Anthony picking up the foul.
And you saw Benny's Rod Strickland on that play where if you don't get to him early, then he's going to be right at the rim and it's going to be too late. And Greg Anthony gives him a pass, and Strickland is very good at making adjustments on the way to the rim.
Strickland's first trip to the line.
That's my fault.
Rod, of course, was a Blazer. Came here to Washington in the deal that sent Rasheed Wallace to the Portland Trailblazers. Sheed played his rookie year here in Washington. And since then, it's been all in Portland for Rasheed Wallace.
Well, and the fans say, yeah, another bad deal the Wizards made. Jesus, what kind of a trade was that? As Wallace' development and, you know, his curve is on the way up, as Rod Strickland was right about the height of his career when Portland let him go, and it's all going to be either flat or on the way down from that point on.
Fonzie Wells called for an offensive foul against Richard Hamilton. Not quite sure what Monty McCutcheon saw, but apparently he saw something.
Wells and going down with a hook and a hold on the body.
Richmond from three.
Well, Richmond saw that one good all the way. He was backing up right from the release. He's got 5 1/4.
Fonzie thought about the three. Steve Smith fighting out of the double team, and Mitch Richmond the foul. And that'll be 5 team fouls against Washington, so that'll put the Blazers at the free throw line.
Fonzie tells me, look, he held my arm first, and Monty McCutcheon saying, I disagree. I had my hands up. But, you know, anytime you get your hand up and you don't, if you're not, like Steve Smith does it all the time. When a guy puts his hand on him, he clamps it against his body. So now, when there comes time for separation, he looks like he's being thrown away.
Steve good with a pair.
So what it tells you is Bonzie's still got a few tricks of the trade to still learn.
Well, he's got a good teacher in Steve Smith. Hamilton on the move, tough shot.
Now, Hamilton is a scorer, you know, and he is at least getting the opportunity to do that. And that's where he's only going to be able to make some sort of impact in this game, because against Wells, he's just physically overmatched. They double Fonzie Wells.
Shot clock at 10. Rasheed setting the screen for Steve. Fonzie Wells, offensive rebound. Oh, and it's spun out. Steve Smith, offensive rebound, blocked, and Richmond comes out of the pack with the ball. Blazers multiple good looks, couldn't put them down. Hamilton for three. Greg Anthony pulls off the rebound. Steve Smith ahead of the field, and he scores.
Steve Smith never got back. Greg Anthony looked up, and there was Smith right under the hoop, a pirouetting effort. 7 1/4 for Smith.
Strickland will pull up. And Rod Strickland's got it cooking on all cylinders tonight. Wizards within 1. And a foul called against Richard Hamilton of the Wizards. Timeout on the floor. 1:52 to go in the second. The Blazers lead it by 1.
Soft, smooth leather. The quality, guaranteed. Style essentials for fall. Warm, cozy Arctic fleece. Style essentials. You'll find it at Fred Meyer.
Where will I be when they knock on my door? Where will I be when the aces are four? Where will I be when fate asks for day?
One day, you'll find a place where you know you belong. Will you be ready? Understanding your credit is the first step toward owning a home. Call for the free guide on credit from the Fannie Mae Foundation and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
Sometimes you just have to bail on the whole scene. Pack up the Ford Explorer, fire up the V8, put the all-wheel drive to the test, and just get back to basics.
Hey, nature boy, you're burning the weenies.
Oh! Ford Explorer, built to get away from it all. And with $1,500 cash back plus 0.9 financing, you can afford to haul a few luxuries along for the ride.
Little to the left?
Check out the full line of Explorers at your Northwest Ford outfitter.
Yes.
Tonight's Aflac Trivia question is, which team did the Wizards defeat 95-78 in the inaugural game here at the MCI Center? Think about that. We'll get back to you with the correct answer to our Aflac Trivia question. The foul against Hamilton is his third. And Scottie Pippen is beloved.
But this has been a game of streaks, and Portland has been able to streak out first, but the Wizards have been able to come up and catch them, and they're down by one as Bonzi Wells goes to the line. Every time it looks as though Portland has gotten to 5, 6, and ready to break the game open. A couple of mistakes, fouls, and the Wizards are back in the ball game.
Bonzi off the mark with the first. And Heidi White, I beg your pardon, out of the ball game. Cherokee Parks is in, along with Michael Smith and Gerard King on the front line. Richmond and Strickland, the backcourt for Washington. Bonzi, 1 of 2, and a 2-point Blazer lead.
Now they bring King in, and King is a much bigger player than Richard Hamilton, much stronger. And so they're trying to get some size in there, so Bonzi Wells just won't overpower the opponent. Now King down low, switches with Cherokee Park. Wallace asking for the ball.
Bonzi Wells. That one short, trying to follow his own shot. And Rasheed with yet another throwdown. Rasheed Wallace hitting the glass and throwing it down with authority.
So as good as he was with threes in Orlando, he's better tonight with the dunk. That's all he's done. He's thrown all 4 of Portland's dunks in here in the first half of play.
Parks was bumped, and Rasheed Wallace called for the foul. That'll put Parks at the line for 1 plus the penalty.
Wallace is going to have to come out for the final 56 seconds here of the first half. And Wallace, has a little something to say, and I'm saying very little, other than to say that that was bad, and comes on down, and Arvydas Sabonis will come in.
Parks, a 6-point effort against the Celtics. Went public in the paper complaining about Leonard Hamilton's substitution patterns.
And that he wasn't getting enough time, or he wasn't getting enough tattoos?
That was basically it, yes.
He wasn't getting enough tattoos.
Well, he wasn't getting enough time, I guess, but a couple free throws for Parks. Blazer lead is 2. Blazers clear out for Steve Smith. Reversing, scoring, and he'll go to the line for a 3-point chance.
Mitch Richmond yelling and screaming at his teammates about where is my help. Let's have a conversation about, a little bit of team defense as Steve Smith beginning to cook here in the second quarter. Another chance for a 3-point play.
Steve with 13 on the night. King the foul.
10 1/4 for Steve Smith.
And the Blazer lead is 5. Their largest lead, 8.
So big quarter from Greg Anthony and Steve Smith. 21 points between them. Strickland stripped to the ball.
Here come the Blazers, 3-on-1 if they hurry. Bonzi Wells off the save by Steve Smith. And Steve banged his right leg against the signage board at the far end. But Steve made the save, and Bonzi the hoop, and the Blazer lead is 7.
Strickland holding for 1, but just that quickly again from a 1-point advantage, Portland scores 6 straight.
About 4 difference between the 2 clocks. Strickland will call his own number. No, he won't. But he will draw a Portland foul and go to the line.
Little pump fake by Rod Strickland.
Greg Anthony picks up his second personal foul. And I'm not sure why, but Rod Strickland, Bonzi Wells was not positioned correctly, and Dick Mavetas is back off. I don't know how Strickland saw that, but third among active players in assists. And good with the first free throw. Blazers call a 20-second timeout here with 8.6 to go in the first half. And a 6-point lead. Mike Dunleavy wants to prepare one final possession because, as we've seen, Steve, really in all the games on this road trip, with the exception maybe of New Jersey, you've needed to value every possession. Just want to remind you that upcoming events at the Rose Quarter include Tina Turner and Joe Cocker. That's coming up tomorrow at the Rose Garden on November the 27th. Child of the Promise. It's a great holiday show, a Broadway-style musical with a 200-voice choir and Christmas carols. That's on November 27th. Bring the whole family to that, and you can get your tickets at the Rose Quarter ticket office and all Ticketmaster locations. The Rose Garden is accessible to people with disabilities. For accessible seating, call 503-231-8000 or TDD 503-231-1101. Talk about a town in a little bit of a tizzy right now over the lack of a final presidential election result. Everywhere you go in D.C., everybody's talking about it. It's on all the radio stations. All right. Blazers up 5. 3 seconds to go. Craig feeding Dale Davis. Who dunks with .5. Blazers execute beautifully and get the dunk with .5. And they'll take a 7-point lead to the locker room. The Blazers close out the second quarter in fine fashion, 62-55. That's your halftime score. Halftime coming next.
Want to start a family?
Right now?
I just got supplemental insurance.
What's that?
Aflac.
Well, if we get sick, our health insurance won't cover things like lost pay or other expenses. This does.
What's it called?
Aflac.
I don't know.
Aflac. Without it, no insurance is complete.
What?
Log on now for Southwest Airlines $99 or less internet specials, only at southwest.com.
You are now free to move about the country.
The ability to have hands-on brewmasters working with the finest ingredients.
In the barley fields and in the hop fields, everyone has a genuine passion and commitment to upholding the highest standards.
Quality, freshness, attention to detail. Blend those things and you have what Budweiser is all about.
I can tell by looking whether a vehicle's been driven hard or not. This guy's one of my regular customers. Scorched brake rotors, beat up oil pan, probably never takes his foot off the gas. He trusts me to make sure it performs, and I trust CarQuest Auto Parts. I mean, you never know. Someday you might need to give me a ride.
CarQuest for AC Delco rapid fire spark plugs. Older cars' engines can run rougher. Bring back that new car feel with AC Delco rapid fire spark plugs. CarQuest, the professional choice.
Wanna find a number out of town, Verizon has the number down. Whether Tampa Bay or Retail or all across the USA. Yeah. Don't need no area codes to search from coast to coast. 411. National Directory Assistance from Verizon. Find anyone, anywhere.
Hi, welcome to the Blazer Halftime Show. Blazers leading Washington at the break, 62-55. Another exciting game from this long road trip. But there's a lot of other games going on right now in the professional basketball ranks. So let's get you caught up on all the happenings in the NBA. First stop, Indianapolis. Travis Best and the Pacers hosting the Rockets. Best had a huge first quarter. He was doing it inside. He was doing it outside. Travis really doing great in the absence of Jalen Rose. Houston hanging tough, though. Stevie Francis is going to be leading the break as he does so well. Dumps it to Shannon Anderson. Yes, sir, but it's Reggie and the Pacers holding court at the half. And let's look at the scoreboard. It's 44-37 at the break. Indiana with that halftime lead. Now, meanwhile, the Cleveland Cavs hosting Detroit in front of about, I don't know, count them, 50 fans. Just kidding. Gary Stackhouse. He was going to be in double figures in the first quarter alone, and watch the finish on this shot. That is circus material, but we are early in this one. Anybody's ball game. So to the scoreboard we go. Cleveland, Detroit. This is what it looks like in the second quarter. Cleveland leading that one by 4. Mavs and Seattle are just underway. Later on, the Magic host the New York Knickerbockers, and the Bulls travel to Golden State. Well, what do you know? There was actually a Michael Jordan sighting tonight at the MCI Center. Now, he spends most of his time in Chicago. Jordan, of course, is Washington's president of basketball operations, and so far, his tenure has been less than stellar.
I haven't done anything on this level that can constitute success, you know, which, to me, I'm not afraid of that. You know, I think I obtained the knowledge of the game, of evaluating players, of actually putting together a situation that could possibly be successful. I think I have that talent to do that.
And time will tell if Michael can turn that franchise around or if he'll bail. Okay, it's that time for another Dodge memorable moment.
Memorable moments are brought to you by your Northwest Dodge dealers.
November 15, 1991, Portland fell behind the Minnesota Timberwolves by 21 points in the third quarter before an unknown rookie rallied the Blazers.
The rookie, he's got it!
Robert Pack burst on the scene with 13 fourth quarter points as Portland rallied to a 107-102 victory.
Individually, they are standouts in their respect.
This is a national sales alert from Dodge. Effective immediately for 5 full years. Get 0 APR on 2000 Dodge Stratus and Intrepid, 0.9 APR on 2000 Dodge Dakota and Durango, and 4.9 APR on select all-new 2001 Dodge Caravans. See your Dodge dealer immediately, as 60-month financing can save you over $5,600.
See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
They're easier than ever to get, but harder and harder to use.
It is a little frustrating.
News Channel 8 gives you a crash course in how to make the most of your frequent flyer miles. A consumer alert tonight at 11 on News Channel 8, where the news comes first.
Many elderly or disabled people, getting from their homes to the grocery store is impossible. They live in fear of losing their independence. The key to maintaining that independence is Store to Door, a nonprofit group that shops for and delivers groceries. We urgently need weekday volunteers. Please call Store to Door at 503-413-8223 and help elderly and disabled people live their lives with dignity.
Looking for a different deal every day? Then there's nothing like your Northwest McDonald's. Introducing our 99-cent different days, different deals. Like Mondays, when you can get our famous Big Mac for an incredible 99 cents. Or 99-cent 6-piece Chicken McNuggets Tuesdays. Or Big and Tasty Wednesdays for a 99-cent Big and Tasty sandwich. Or Thursdays, when our double cheeseburger is just 99 cents. McDonald's, different days, different deals. A 99-cent deal any day of the week.
At McDonald's, we love to see you smile.
This copyrighted telecast of the National Basketball Association may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the express written consent of the NBA.
Tonight's game is brought to you by Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines, for the same price, you just get more. Buy Sprite. Drink Sprite and get Rocket Cash. Buy what you want at Sprite.com. By Franz and Williams Bakeries, a family of good breads. And by your friendly Northwest Dodge dealers. In a perfect world, everything would be different. MCI Center. The Blazers, with a big second quarter, grabbed the lead 62-55. Pete Pranica, the snap for Steve Jones here at MCI Center. Blazers put up 36 points in that second quarter. And, you know, Rasheed Wallace, he's versatile. He can shoot the three, and he can tear the rim down, too.
You know, it's been a game where he's been available for the high percentage opportunity, so he has been above the rim in almost every one of his scoring chances. You know, and I've talked about it a lot. If you cut to the basket, where is the most dangerous place you can be? And bad things happen for the defense, and Wallace emphatically throwing those down. See that shot selection, that tells you that he's tight to the basket.
All close range for Rasheed Wallace. Steve Smith, one of the game's best shot makers. Blazers doing a good job taking advantage of their size at the shooting guard slot. Steve with a strong first half.
Well, you knew that Steve Smith would be looking to be aggressive at the offensive end whenever he had a chance, because he's playing against a guy that can toast him pretty good in Mitch Richmond. So whenever he got a chance to be assertive, he did so, got himself going. And once a good offensive player gets going, it's very difficult to keep him from finding ways to get the ball in. And this is a real good example with a chasing defense pirouetting Steve Smith. And again, shot chart, all close. The percentage for the team is real high in the first half.
It is. Greg Anthony doing it from long distance.
Yeah, you know, I guess you and Greg Anthony got together here early and decided that this was his arena because he has come out dialed in. He's been aggressive and looking for the three, knocked it down. I think he almost feels that every shot could go in tonight. And they hit his first three-pointers and then got a deuce inside and just missed his fourth. So Anthony carrying the torch for the Trailblazers from the perimeter.
A guy who is really doing well from the perimeter for Washington has been Rod Strickland. His confidence is burgeoning, 4 of 6 in the first half.
You know, Strickland has gotten much better at making that shot and even taking that shot. Before, it was just penetrate, and he developed the ability to make that shot while he was in Portland. So if you give him a little room and a little daylight, he's going to look to knock it down, and he did that. The good thing is Portland has kept him from penetrating most of this first half of play.
And right now, the Blazers lead it 62-55.
There will always be skeptics. You know them. They say it will never work, never happen, never fly. But the next time they tell you all the logical reasons why it can't be done, just remember all the times that they have been wrong.
You beat it up, throw it through the mud a couple times, add a little sweat, and just when you think it can't possibly take any more.
This is an NBC News special report. Battle for the White House. Here is Tom Brokaw.
Good evening, everyone. After a presidential campaign that lasted for more than a year, the next 90 seconds could be the longest in the life of Vice President Al Gore and Texas Governor George W. Bush. At the end of a minute and a half, we should have the decision of the Florida State Supreme Court tonight. It has 3 broad possibilities for ruling. It could tell the Secretary of State she cannot certify this election in Florida until all of those votes have been recounted in 3 heavily Democratic counties and sent to her. That would be a big win for the vice president, obviously. They may also rule that she can certify the election conditionally. That is, that she could say, yes, we have a certification, but now it's open to a formal contest from the Gore team. Or they could rule that Secretary of State Catherine Harris was right when she ruled that there was a deadline last Tuesday, 1 week after the election, that she can now certify the election for George W. Bush. That obviously would be a slam dunk for the Texas governor. We don't know tonight how this court will rule about the question of the so-called dimpled or indented ballots, how they can be counted, whether the court will set some kind of a standard or turn it back to the local canvassing board. If it turns it back to the local canvassing board, that again would be a victory for the vice president. Already the Bush team is saying from Austin, Texas tonight, they don't know whether they're going to get the victory that they hope that they will. If they do not, they are prepared apparently to go all the way to the United States Supreme Court. You're looking now as we show you the front of the state Supreme Court in Tallahassee. Here is the decision.
Again, my name is Craig Waters. I'm the spokesman for the Florida Supreme Court.
I want to discuss some technical matters first. The opinion will be posted on the website, both our duplicate websites, immediately after I finish this statement. The doors will open for people to receive paper copies at that time as well. I'm now going to read to you a statement that was authorized by the entire court. The court has issued a 42-page opinion this evening in the presidential election cases. In its opinion, the court has reversed the two orders of the trial court. It did so based on long-standing rules that govern how to interpret a general statute containing conflicting provisions, as is the case with Florida's election code. In dealing with similar conflicts in the past, the court has consistently held that the right of the people to cast their vote is the paramount concern overriding all others. To achieve this goal, the court holds that amended certifications from the county canvassing boards must be accepted by the Election Canvassing Commission through 5 p.m. on November 26th if the Secretary of State's office is open for the special purpose of receiving amended certifications. If that office is not open for this purpose on that date, then the Elections Canvassing Commission must accept amended certifications until 9 a.m. on November 27. The opinion of the court is unanimous. Thank you, and I will not be taking any questions.
All right! Well, there it is. That's the decision. The court has until the 27th of November. The court has said they have until the 27th of November for the local canvassing boards to file their amended returns with the Secretary of State. They reversed the two orders of the trial court, saying that Secretary of State Catherine Harris must continue to accept these votes that are being recounted in Broward County, also in Palm Beach County and Miami-Dade County, heavily Democratic counties. And obviously, the Gore campaign hopes that it can pick up enough votes to overcome the lead of George W. Bush, now officially tabulated at 930 votes altogether. At the same time, this court did not rule on whether or not those local canvassing boards should count the so-called indented or dimple ballots. That will be a contest that will have to be resolved at the local level. All three of those counties have a majority of Democratic Party officials on the canvassing board. So again, this does appear to be a major victory for Vice President Gore and his legal team tonight. It does mean that by November 27th, however, that all of those recounted votes will have to be filed with the Secretary of State. Let's go now to NBC's David Bloom in Florida. David?
Tom, what this does is give the Gore campaign either 5 days, if the deadline winds up being 5 p.m. on November 26th, or 6 days, if it's 9 a.m. on November 27th, to get as many votes as they can from those three heavily Democratic counties in South Florida. Now, as you pointed out, there is a significant factor here, which is that at the last minute today, the Bush campaign went to court arguing that the high court had no right to tell those counties what standard to use, because, as we've been reporting, it may be that even if these recounts continue, that Vice President Gore may not get enough votes, even with the adjusted tallies, which is why the Gore team wanted that broader standard. Tom?
Thanks very much, David Bloom. And our chief legal correspondent is Dan Abrams. He's also in Florida tonight. Dan, what about that? That's an outstanding question that was not addressed in this decision as it was read to us, but we had only a brief summary. There are 42 pages in the decision, after all.
Well, that's right, Tom. We're going to have to wait and see exactly what that ruling says. I'm actually getting it as we speak, so I'm going to take a read through it and determine exactly what they say in here. But as you point out, undoubtedly a victory for the Gore team, because any movement on that date of certification was something of a victory for the Gore team. They wanted to move that back as much as they possibly could to try to be able to get more votes to be counted. The legal question here was, does the court have the power to set a new deadline? The Bush team had argued no. They had said that's for the legislature to decide, to set dates and cutoffs. And this court doesn't have the power to set a new one. This court obviously disagreeing and unanimously ruling that they in fact do have the power to set a deadline. They've done that, and now we're going to have to see exactly how far they went in this opinion.
Thank you very much, NBC's Dan Abrams. To Washington now, our Washington bureau chief and moderator of Meet the Press. Tim, not only was it a legal victory for the Gore team, but there is language in the decision, or at least the summary tonight, that will be very hopeful to that team as well. When the clerk of the courts read, "The court has decided that the right of the people to cast votes is paramount here. Vice President Al Gore will have that on his website within a matter of moments, I would think.
Absolutely, Tom, and that was the argument of the Gore campaign, the will of the people. We still obviously have to wait to find out if this vote is provided by the counties, whether the Secretary of State is obligated to accept it. That could set off another legal challenge. And Tom, if you have a moment just for a few numbers, because this becomes critical now. If Bush is ahead by 930 votes, and he picks up, say, an additional 70, for argument's sake, from some of the overseas absentee military votes for 1,000 lead, we already know that Al Gore has picked up 16 in Palm Beach, 124 in Broward, and he is on a course to pick up about 600 in Dade County, which would give him about 750 votes, or a margin for Bush for 250 with the hand recount, if you don't count those so-called dimple ballots you've been talking about. If you, in fact, bring in those dimple ballots, Bush's margin of 250 suddenly evaporates, because in Palm Beach, they've already said they have 297 dimple ballot margin for Gore, plus Dade plus Broward could have 300 plus. The vice president would have enough votes to overcome George Bush's margin if the dimple ballots are allowed.
Thanks very much, NBC's Tim Russert. As a matter of fact, a senior member of the Gore team told me earlier this week that they've done an analysis of all of this, and they think when it's all over, there's a very good possibility that they could get to a 0-0-sum game. In fact, what they could have is enough votes picked up in the recounts that it would overcome the George Bush lead, but by a matter of 1 or 2 votes, or maybe on the plus side or on the negative side. So we could be back to square one effectively at the end of all of this. Let's bring in now Lawrence Tribe, a member of the Harvard Law School faculty, of course, one of this country's most highly regarded constitutional law experts. He has been an advocate for Al Gore. But let me ask you, to be a faculty member and a constitutional law expert here, what are the chances that the George W. Bush team can now get this case to the U.S. Supreme Court, in your judgment, Professor Tribe?
In my judgment, it would be extremely difficult, although I would be surprised if they didn't try. Difficult because ultimately what was being decided was a matter of Florida law, the question of whether Florida law places the absolute enforcement of certain deadlines above the value of counting every possible vote. And we're told by the highest authority on Florida law unanimously that it does not. The constitutional questions that the Bush team wants to raise, in my judgment, are not questions that a student of constitutional law who understands the subject at all is likely to take awfully seriously, because they amount to the argument that under the Equal Protection Clause of the Constitution, every county has to really proceed the same way with the process of counting ballots. And of course, whenever you have local government, that's not true. Some counties have different kinds of machines, different deadlines. So their argument is really an argument of desperation. The real right of the franchise is, I think, honestly, on the Gore side here. And the real winners this evening, because we don't know who will win the eventual count, the real winners are voters who are told fundamentally that when you deal with these crazy machines and you think you've pushed a button and you think you've stuck the stylus through, and instead, maybe because the machine is stacked up, you only made a dimple, that you somehow have lost your right to vote, that right now can be vindicated despite arbitrary deadlines that you have no control over. And that's a very basic principle.
Professor Tribe, thank you very much. And representing the George W. Bush team tonight is the former Pennsylvania Governor and Attorney General Richard Thornburg. Mr. Thornburg, what happens now in terms of where the Bush team goes from here? Are you thinking about trying to take this to the U.S. Supreme Court, based not on the decision of this high court in Florida tonight, but on those so-called dimpled and indented ballots? Do you think that you've got a track to the court there?
Well, there are a variety of approaches that can be taken, and a lot's going to depend on an opinion that we haven't even seen at all. But clearly, this court in Florida has taken an activist approach. They've substituted their judgment for the judgment of the legislative and executive branches. And I think that we would be much more comfortable with a Supreme Court that takes a more restrained approach in dealing with these questions, particularly on the constitutional issues of due process of law and equal protection of the law, which are implicated in this particular situation.
But, Mr. Attorney General, you're not saying that the court acted inappropriately, are you? There was a conflict, obviously, within the law in Florida, and isn't it the role of the state Supreme Court to try to sort that out?
Well, there is in a broad sense, but they have to deal with the hand that's been dealt them, and in this case, it required overturning a finding by a lower court judge that the Secretary of State had acted appropriately. And in order to do so, they have to find, in effect, I expect the opinion will say, that he acted in an arbitrary and capricious manner. And I think that's not going to stand up to scrutiny.
Thank you very much, former Attorney General Richard Thornburg, who is closely allied, of course, with Texas Governor George W. Bush. Our chief legal correspondent, Dan Abrams, has had a chance to go through the decision some now. Dan, what does it say about indented and dimpled ballots, if anything at all?
Well, Tom, in my brief skimming of it, it doesn't say anything specifically on that issue. Really, they focused on those two issues. Number one, are manual recounts appropriate in this particular circumstance? The answer to that question was yes. There was a debate here about whether you needed a systemic vote tabulation problem in order for manual recounts to kick in. That's what the Bush team said. The Gore team said no. Any error should count. Any error should kick in the manual recount statute. The court agreed with the Gore team, and in the end, saying that the Secretary, in essence, abused her discretion, Tom. And, Tom, back to you.
All right, thanks very much, NBC's Dan Abrams. Let's go to Claire Shipman now, who's covering the Gore campaign. There must be elation there tonight, Claire.
Tom, they're very happy. In fact, they had got wind of this just a few minutes before the announcement. This was the way the court was going to come down, and they are claiming this as a victory. Yes, they had wanted a ruling on that Chad issue also, but as they've pointed out, they already have two, what they think are good lower court rulings on that, and they figure that may have to work its way back up to the Supreme Court. But most important was for the counting to continue in their minds, and they say it will now.
All right, let's go to your counterpart now in Austin, Texas. That's David Gregory, who's covering the campaign of Texas Governor George W. Bush. And the feeling there, David, although I think that we can probably guess at it.
I think we can, Tom. I think one of the things that you've already mentioned is that there is, according to top advisors, a groundswell of support for an appeal, perhaps directly to the U.S. Supreme Court. And I think the battle has also been staged for other legal action. For instance, would there be a legal challenge now to have some of the military ballots re-examined? It could come down to a small number of votes that could become critical. And the point that you've also been mentioning, the dimpled ballot, as one advisor put it to me tonight, that is the big enchilada here. He said we will not take that sitting down if those ballots are allowed to be counted. So there's a lot of options, a lot of decisions that have to be made now after this setback. Tom?
David Gregory, thanks very much. We're going to go quickly to constitutional law expert Rick Pildes, who joins us here in New York. He's from the University of Michigan, now a visiting professor at NYU. What do you think the chances are that the Bush campaign will get any redress if they go to the federal court over these dimpled ballots saying that they have been used permissibly for partisan purposes?
Well, they'll first have to go back to the Florida Supreme Court eventually to get it to rule on that question. But I think that court was correct. It was precipitous to address that issue now. There does have to be fact-finding about what Florida's practice is about accepting these dimpled ballots. But to try to go to the U.S. Supreme Court now or to go back to the Court of Appeals in Atlanta is an extraordinary stretch for the Bush campaign because, as Professor Tribe said, there really is no federal constitutional issue at this stage in the litigation.
Thank you very much, Professor Rick Pildes. And now to our favorite historian, Doris Kearns-Goodwin, who's up in Boston. Does either man come out of this in such a fashion that they can govern effectively for the next 4 years, Doris?
Well, I used to think so. I mean, I've been thinking for the last couple of weeks that this was not a constitutional crisis. It was simply a mechanical crisis caused by this incredibly close vote and the inability of our ballots and our machinery to handle it. But now there's such an escalation of violence, I'm much more worried about it in the language that's being used.
All right, thank you very much, Doris Kearns-Goodwin, the eminent historian from Harvard. There you have it tonight, a major victory in the Florida State Supreme Court for Vice President Al Gore. The recounts will continue in those heavily Democratic counties, and the Secretary of State has been instructed to accept them by November 27th. We'll have continuing coverage on this NBC station, also on MSNBC. I'm Tom Brokaw, NBC News in New York.
This has been an NBC News special report. We now return to regular programming.
A new hobby, volleyball, I think should be high on the list. Hamilton Hamilton against Pippen, a little show and go. Hamilton may be undersized, but his confidence is there.
Oh, no, he can stick it at this end of the floor. The problem is when you're that small, and then they're going to take advantage of the other way. So as soon as you come down the other way, you try to get whoever he's guarding to get the ball down low. Dale Davis against Howard.
Double, beat night, pass. What a pass by Dale Davis to Damon Stoudemire.
Now, the best thing Portland has done tonight is move without the basketball, and we have seen every cutter that's cut get rewarded with the pass, and they've all been right at the basket.
Hamilton will go to work again. Pippen in his face, and blocked out of bounds. So the Blazers, another block shot.
Now, you watch ball movement, player movement, and what happens is they always go to the post. They double Dale Davis, and they probably shouldn't because he hasn't hurt him down there. That leaves Damon wide open for an easy 2.
10 to shoot for Washington. Howard with 4 to shoot. Travel before the block shot. Rasheed Wallace is on some kind of mission tonight. In deep again. Smitty off the penetration. Dale Davis in and out.
Now, the mission would be to embarrass Juwan Howard, and he's totally dominated him at both ends of the floor.
Steve with a block, but Richmond regathers and hits. Well, Steve Smith did that to Pat Garrity Sunday night in Orlando, and it ended up with a Steve Smith dunk, but there Richmond got it back.
Well, Portland still has not put the Wizards away. I mean, it's an 8-point lead, and they just keep hanging around, and so you want to be able to really get a good, consistent spurt.
Steve Smith on the baseline, fouled on the pass-off.
3-second violation.
Second call. Dale Davis in the lane a little too long. Mike Dunleavy says, just step and shoot it. Blazers lead by 8.
Well, sometimes you can be too unselfish. I mean, you get people, big people inside thinking you're going to throw it up. They're trying to get in position to get the ball, and the next thing you know, you've made an extra pass, and they've got caught. Richmond, 6 on the clock.
Hamilton thought about the 3. He'll go with the penetration, a wild shot. And a loose ball foul called by Kevin Fair. And Washington will have it on the side. Blazers thought they were going to have a fast break. Dale Davis the foul, and the Blazers over the limit, so Washington to the line for free throws with 4:32 to go here in the quarter. I beg your pardon, 4 fouls against Dale.
It's going to get a bigger player on the floor, one that they're really going to have trouble dealing with in Arvydas Sabonis.
And Jahadi White to the line. 3 for 3 from the free throw line. He shoots 57%, so you're waiting for him to miss. Sabonis is in, Dale Davis is out. That one well short, and Pippen grabs the rebound. White his first miss from the free throw line tonight. Sabonis feeding Pippen against Hamilton. And
just trying to take advantage of the fact that it's such a size mismatch, but Pippen got himself turned around. Rod Strickland.
Against Damon. Richmond regathers and scores. Sheed running the floor. That one blocked. No foul called. Damon retrieves. Shot clock did not reset. Steve's 3 is in. Steve Smith knocks down a 3. And Steve Smith with 20. The Blazer lead is 8.
6 points in the quarter, but Wallace really was going for the hammer, and he put it out there too far. That's the reason that Jahidi White was able to get a piece of it.
Strickland against Stoudemire. White against Sabonis. White backs in, knocks Sabonis over, and no call. And White scores to make it a 78-72 ball game. And the first Blazers player to score 20 points tonight, Steve Smith. Jill Bernstein selected Stacey Augmon as tonight's first to 20. And Stacey, we thank you for playing Dodge first to 20. 3:08 to go. Dick Bavetta with a foul call.
And again, they're going right in the direction of Richard Hamilton. Every time they come down with the set, they identify Hamilton as the guy they want to attack. Juwan Howard coming out of the ball game, Michael Smith in.
So the Blazers will get it on the side. 14 to shoot, 3:08 to go in the third quarter.
Again, coming back to Pippen.
Against Hamilton, Scotty spinning and drawing the foul. Hamilton, I believe that's his fifth.
He's too small. And, you know, when you're that small and you're playing up front, there just isn't anything he can do at the defensive end in a post position. That's why Dunleavy has gone at him every time, either with Bonzi Wells or Scottie Pippen. He sits down, Felipe Lopez back in.
And Lopez has 3 fouls, so Washington hasn't had much luck with those 2 players. Scotty on the back down and an offensive foul.
Well, the Lopez is a bigger, stronger, more aggressive player than Richard Hamilton.
Timeout on the floor, 2:54 to go on the third. The Blazer lead trimmed to 6, 78-72 Blazers.
And you can use the cash back for your down payment.
I don't know. A pickup?
Julie, they're giving us the down payment.
How about a test drive?
I'm driving.
The 2000 Ford Ranger, complete with the off-road package and a 3-liter V6, plus $2,000 cash back.
We'll take that one.
Test drive a Ranger at your Northwest Ford store.
Wanna find a number out of town? Verizon has the number down. Whether Tampa Bay or Retail or all across the USA. Yeah. Don't need no area codes to search from coast to coast. 411. National Directory Assistance from Verizon. Find anyone anywhere.
Some cars get JP signature service every 3,000 miles. And some cars don't. JP Lube Signature Service is complete car care using Pennzoil and Quaker State products. Does your car get it?
Before coming to the arena this morning, the Blazer broadcasting crew visited one of the newer memorials here in Washington, the Korean War Veterans Memorial. Now, you all know that our executive producer and director, George Wash, is the dean of NBA directors, but before that, he served in the Air Force during the Korean War. Now, George didn't want us to put this on the air, but we overruled him because he and all veterans really deserve our thanks in doing their part and their duty in keeping America free. So, George, thank you. And a very meaningful moment for George Wash and for all of us when you tour Washington and see the great monuments here in the city. Michael Smith missing, and the Blazers come away with the basketball. Damon cut off by Strickland, 2.5 to go in the third.
Been a quiet night for Damon, not really being able to get into it at the offensive end as they now try to get a play set up. Pippen pulls the trigger from the outside.
And Richmond pulls off the rebound. And Mitch Richmond delivers from downtown, and the Blazer lead cut to 3.
Series of mistakes, but again, some big shots being made by Mitch Richmond and Jahidi White to keep them in the ball game. Turnover almost.
White got his hand on the entrance pass from Wallace intended for Sabonis, so the Blazers keep with 9 to shoot.
Wallace had the right idea, but did not get enough height on the pass. But Portland in the third quarter is working against the clock in almost every possession. Damon Stoudemire gets the second score of the quarter.
Bonzi Wells heading to the scorer's table. He'll check in. At the next opportunity, Richmond posting up Stoudemire. Arvidas the rebound. And again, the Blazers running and running with numbers. And Dame trying to get it to Rasheed, forced it. And Lopez gets the 22nd timeout as he was rolling over on the floor. Dick Bavetta grants the 22nd timeout to the Washington Wizards with 1:24 to go here in the third. This 22nd timeout brought to you by Jiffy Lube.
Now you see right here, Stoudemire's kind of squeezed that ball inside, but it's right in the passing lane, and Lopez steps in, knocks it away, and then Wallace can't control it and trying to dive underneath. Lopez gets it and calls the 20.
And during this, we'll give you the opportunity to learn about this. France is giving you a chance to watch a Blazers game from a Rose Guard suite and meet a Blazers player after the game. Pick up a loaf of France premium white bread and enter by December the 30th, 2000.
Portland was shooting 57% at the break. They didn't have one of those crucial lapses like they did in Orlando, where they only got 3 field goals. They're shooting 54% now, and they have a 5-point advantage.
Following the 22nd timeout, Strickland working against Stoudemire.
Going to get Steve Smith as he was trying to prevent Mitch Richmond from getting to the ball.
And that will put Richmond at the line since the Blazers are over the foul limit, just the first foul against Steve.
Steve Smith has 20. Mitch Richmond, with these 2 free throws, would be at 20 as they go in a shootout. And Richmond, like Smith, throughout his career, has been a great stick from the outside and a great free thrower. He gets his first.
K-State alum with 2 free throws, and the Wizards within 3. Blazers up by double digits earlier in the quarter, but unable to put the Wizards away. Steve Smith drawing a foul from the Wizards. Mitch Richmond.
Richmond had his hand all over him on the hand check. Again, Steve Smith with the hesitation. And Richmond wasn't expecting that. I think he was thinking they're going to run a play. Steve Smith said, I'm not running any play. I'm getting back.
And so Steve now trying to return the favor. Richmond converted 2 free throws a moment ago.
Smith with 7 in the quarter. With this, would he get to 8? He'd have 22. And Richmond has had 9 in the quarter and is at 20.
And Steve coming off a 9.9 assist performance in 41 minutes at Orlando. The second leading scorer for the Blazers knocks in 2 free throws. Back to a 5-point game. To go. Strickland. White nearly walked. Herbertine rejected it. Damon feeding Bonzi. Foul. He'll go to the line for 2.
I guess Wallace is saying there'll be nothing cheap inside today, and every time there's been some sort of reaction, Wallace has gotten the better of it, and then at the other end, a high-flying Bonzi Wells gets clipped across the arms and will go to the line. Mitch Richmond to foul.
Bonzi's second trip to the line. He's 2 of 3. And Bonzi, the leading dunker off the bench. And 2 free throws. And the Blazer lead back to 7. So it's been a game of runs and mini runs.
Richmond with size against Stoudemire.
Bonzi comes to double. Richmond throws up a wild one. And Chavez the rebound. Again, the Blazers running. Steve. It's a 2. Bonzi offensive rebound, but lost the outlet as Richmond took it away. White running the floor. Strickland lost it and won. 11 seconds to go in the third. Arvidas is there. Lopez to beat the buzzer. Good if it goes, and it does. Felipe Lopez raises his fist into the air as he hits a shot to put a camper on the third quarter. 84-79. Blazers take a 5-point lead to the fourth quarter in Washington.
Just how good is Les Schwab's studless snow tire? Be observed. To know for sure, observe. Traction, cornering, stopping. And this is on ice in a hockey arena. Case closed. Tests show the snow tire to ask for is the Observe. If you can't remember the name, remember the place. Les Schwab. Studs if you need them, and if you don't, the studded tire alternative, the Observe.
A lot has changed since 1906, unless you consider Fran's bread. Back then, we baked bread as a family with as much love and pride and heritage as we could fit into each and every loaf. That's how we baked it in 1906, and that's how we bake it today. Fran's has always believed that a company that bakes as a family can take pride in products made for a family. Fran's bread. Good taste runs in the family.
And we need your signature here, and here.
Here.
Yeah, and again, here. Congratulations. And your first home.
Every year, millions of people who dream of owning a home find their dreams can come true.
Thank you.
Call the Fannie Mae Foundation for a free guide to help put you on the path to home ownership and for a list of lenders and credit counselors.
Are you still just sitting here? Boy, get up off your lazy butt. Nothing ever came to anybody just sitting around drinking Sprite all day.
Oh, really?
Now, the more Sprite you drink, the more you can buy. Under every tap, you can get a free Sprite or a Rocket Cash. Online money you can use at Sprite.com. Drink Sprite, get Rocket Cash. Buy what you want.
And pick up all of these little things because they're everywhere.
Tonight's game is brought to you by your friendly Northwest Dodge dealers. In a perfect world, everything would be different. By Bank of America, proud sponsors of the Portland Trailblazers. By Alaska Airlines. Alaska Airlines, for the same price, you just get more. And by Les Schwab Tire Centers. If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it. The White House, quiet now. Who will occupy it beginning January 20th? Not sure. Let's check out the Spirit Mountain pick of the game. The Blazers have more points in the paint than the Wizards, 44-26, and that means the kids at Whitaker Elementary School in Eugene have a new SMART program worth over $12,500 courtesy of the Spirit Mountain Community Fund. SMART. Start making a reader today.
All right, Pete, put your stat hat on because we've been watching this game, and for about 3 quarters, it looks as though Wallace has about 5 or 6 blocks, but the official stats are only giving him 2.
He had 2 in one sequence.
That's what happens when you play away from home. Sometimes they get lost in the play. Richmond threw it to nobody.
Pippen might have gotten a piece of that one. Greg Anthony in the ball game. Rasheed Wallace is down as Dale Davis is in. Sabonis against White. Going to the hook. And Arvidas can do that all day against Jahidi White.
Well, again, it's just size, and Portland has had such a size advantage in so many different positions, and when they roll inside, they're almost always going to get a good scoring opportunity. Sabonis starts them off, then comes back and picks up a personal. A high-scoring game so far, Pete, as both teams have been able to be 20 or better in all 3 quarters. The Wizards winning the last, but Portland still shooting over 50% for the game.
Washington fell off there in the third. Strickland off the mark. Bonzi the rebound.
Going to come back with the same play against Jahidi White with Sabonis.
Sabonis, will he roll across the lane? No, he'll go to the baseline and nearly put that one in. Arvidas offensive rebound. He'll go to the line for a couple of free throws as he was fouled. Michael Smith, the foul. Mike Dunleavy wants a goaltend. Let's take a look.
There's no question that Jahidi White had his hand on the rim. The official didn't see it.
Kevin Fair just looks at Mike Dunleavy and
From the slam cam, you'll see a hand come up
and pull the net. And Sabonis misses the first free throw. Savas, 1 of 2. Largest lead for the Blazers came in the third quarter, and it was a dozen. Right now, it's at 8.
Now, Portland's defensive energy is a lot laxer than it was earlier in the ball game, and it's just been mistakes by the Wizards that hasn't hurt Portland. Richmond for 3. That one's too quick.
He was off balance. Tip. Lopez can't get the follow to go. And a Portland foul.
Lopez was right there. It was a controlled tip by Lopez.
And Arvidas picks up the foul. Cherokee Parks returns. Jahidi White is down. Howard, as you said, Steve, back in, and Smith will sit down.
Well, if Howard's going to get rolling, he better get rolling before Wallace gets back out on the floor. I mean, Wallace has given him more than he cares to think about in this ball game. Juwan Howard, 2 of 9 in 24 minutes of play.
Rasheed just biding his time. You know he'll be back.
Well, Wallace played 47 minutes against the Magic in a day off, and Mike Dunleavy knows he's got to come back with him tomorrow, so he's trying to give him as much rest as he can, as the Wizards won't go away.
Well, tomorrow night against Milwaukee, that'll be a speed game. George Karl and company, they score a lot of points and like to get it up and down the floor. Arvidas has it rejected, but Bonzi comes out of there with it. Got to check the shot clock. It's at 6. Bonzi. And Juwan Howard, the long rebound. Richmond feeding Strickland. And Washington refuses to go away.
What Washington has done well is when they've had a chance to run and get out and make a quick scoring strike, they've done it to stay in the game. Wells inside.
Arvidas tied up by Parks, so a jump ball call. Now, Washington is 3-8 on the season. They were the last team in the league to win at home. They had a close call against San Antonio, 99-95, and really they thought they had the ball game in their favor, but San Antonio took it from them.
In the last 5 minutes of play, they had the lead, but they didn't execute, and you can see where their execution breaks down is they've had a lot of miscues in this game. I mean, they've done a good job of staying close, but if you're going to beat a good team and a bigger team, then you got to be sharp with your execution and your decision-making.
And the tip out of bounds, and the Blazers will have it, says Monty McCutcheon, as Felipe Lopez joins the customers. Yeah, Parks quick tip that one, and Lopez onto the bench, over the bench. Bonzi with 10 to shoot against Lopez. Leading. Would have counted had it fallen. It did not, but Bonzi to the line for free throws as Lopez picks up the foul. Lopez, his 4th.
You know, if you're playing against Bonzi Wells, you got to know that this is a guy that likes contact, so don't give him any. He wants to either find a body to roll off of or bump into, make him play against some space.
Bonzi makes it an 89-82 game. Bonzi had 15 in the 4th against Orlando on Sunday night. Richmond comes up firing. That one is short. Dale Davis, a flat-footed rebound. Tip in against Richmond.
Now they come back to Sabonis again. Size is the story. Parks with both hands.
And Parks the foul. And Washington piling up fouls here in the early going. 3 team fouls against the Wizards. Timeout on the floor. 8:56 to go. Blazers lead it by 7.
How much? $5. How much? $5, man. Well, get to work.
You're good.
My pleasure, man.
We didn't invent great service. We just took it to new heights. Alaska Airlines. So much for so little.
Individually, they are standouts in their respect.
This is a national sales alert from Dodge. Effective immediately for 5 full years. Get 0 APR on 2000 Dodge Stratus and Intrepid, 0.9 APR on 2000 Dodge Dakota and Durango, and 4.9 APR on select all-new 2001 Dodge Caravans. See your Dodge dealer immediately, as 60-month financing can save you over $5,600.
See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
This old table has been the heart of the Lasley home, and what tales it could tell of great holiday meals, the life of their family, told in the sharing of great food, of old recipes handed down from one generation to another. The Lasleys are very particular about the food that graces their table, just like the store that's been serving families for over 75 years. Great food at lower prices every day. You'll find it at Fred Meyer.
At AT&T Broadband, we're more than just cable TV. We're bringing you more choices, including digital cable, high-speed internet access, local telephone service, and more. Are you ready for more? AT&T Broadband. Cherokee Parks with the foul, not a shooting foul, so the Blazers will inbound 14 to shoot.
Coming back to Wells against Lopez on the box.
7 to shoot, no double team comes, and an illegal defense call against Washington.
Illegal defense, warning, Blazers.
Richmond was illegal. That's the first call against Washington.
No, put a rip on it. Put a rip.
Bonzi. Dale Davis trying to shake free. He does. Has it stripped. Arvidas gathers. Got to launch it. Greg beats the buzzer and he's fouled. Ho-ho! Greg going to the line for a 4-point chance as he beat the shot clock buzzer.
Scrambling against the clock, and this is an arena that Greg Anthony has fallen in love with. He's 4 of 5 from behind the line, and a chance for a 3-point play.
Make it a 4-point play for Greg Anthony. And the Blazer lead is 11. Chris Whitney in the ball game as Strickland gets arrested. Juwan Howard double. Lopez bobbles and Pippen the steal. Blazers smelling blood here. 8:08 to go in the fourth and up 11. Sabonis against Parks. Greg thought about the 3. 7 to shoot. And Greg Anthony from inside or outside, he has been money tonight. 6 of 7 from the floor and 17 points for Greg. Blazer lead is 13. That's Portland's largest. Howard. Richmond bodying up. Missing Arvidas the rebound and got fouled in backcourt. The Blazers have scored the last 8 to take a 13-point lead. Sabonis fouled by Mitch Richmond in backcourt. And Richmond now with 5 personal fouls. And the Wizards with 5 team fouls. So the Blazers shooting 1 plus the penalty, and some of the Lithuanian fans who live in the D.C. area coming to see Savas play. Savas voted the greatest Lithuanian athlete in the 20th century. Timeout on the floor. 7:33 to go. Blazers up 13.
Imagine this map is the internet, and all these streets intersect to form an information superhighway. But not everyone has access to an on-ramp.
Everybody ready?
Yeah. Tim Duncan and the Spurs know that technology is the fast lane to the future.
Let's get online.
So they've donated computers to schools in their communities that connect students to a whole new world.
Oh, what happened?
And this will help them to cross the bridge right over the digital divide. Team up to improve your community.
3.9% APR financing on Corolla, the best-selling car in history. Now, look closer at one incredible opportunity to get 3.9% financing on a 2001 Corolla. That's super low 3.9% APR financing when you buy any new, practical, playful 2001 Corolla. More safety features and more standard power than the competition. Look closer at your Toyota dealer today. 3.9% APR for a Corolla? Yeah!
A 7-layer burrito from Taco Bell. 7 distinct flavors, all working in harmony. Beans, rice, lettuce, tomatoes, smothered with sour cream and guacamole, and topped with 3 cheeses for a pitch-perfect taste. Also, new 7-layer nachos, just 99 cents at Taco Bell.
What just happened here doesn't leave his car.
Back at MCI Center, Blazers up 13. Part of the reason Rasheed Wallace has thrown down 5 dunks. These are the numbers coming into tonight's ball game. So Rasheed leapfrogging Sean Marion, and 1 dunk shy of the leader, Shaquille O'Neal. And Rasheed 5 of the 6 Blazer dunks. Rasheed has outdunked the Wizards all by himself. Sabonis, normally reliable from the free throw line.
Well, we're at the moment of truth in the ball game for the Wizards. They're either going to get back in it in the next 2 minutes or they're going to roll over, and Leonard Hamilton had gone even smaller. He has Lopez Hamilton in the ball game with Chris Whitney.
And Hamilton operating with 5 personal fouls. Howard turning around from the baseline, and the shots that were falling for the Wizards in the first half are not falling here in the second.
They don't really have good post players, and so when they go into the post, they have trouble getting a real good chance to shoot the ball. If they can turn and face and look at the basket, they did a pretty good job of scoring on Portland. 8 on the clock for Portland.
As you look at Leonard Hamilton, rebuilt the University of Miami basketball program to national prominence.
That is a look of a patient man. I mean, he has had basically the same look on his face his entire game, as this game has been a game of runs, and this team needs one now to stay in it.
Difficult for the Wizards to make moves.
It's interesting that they're booing Juwan Howard every time he catches the ball now.
Hamilton puts up the miss. Very difficult for the Wizards to affect any trades or moves because of salary cap restrictions. And I have to feel that a lot of general managers around the league might not want to help Michael Jordan after Michael was so dominant in taking down teams. Arvidas bumped and gets called for a travel.
Well, really, in order to make a trade, somebody's got to want your players. And if you looked and said, who are the most tradable players, Strickland, Richmond are all edging toward the end of their careers and have to play for a team that's contending for a championship. Hamilton slapped back. And Juwan Howard is a guy that has a huge contract and no one seems too interested in.
Sabonis got the block. Bonzi, Scotty calling for the ball and nearly fumbled it away. Gregg will tee it up again. That one short. Sabonis the rebound. And the crowd here at MCI Center getting a little ugly. Davis to a cutting Sabonis. Oh, touch pass to Pippen. And Scotty looking for a foul. None coming. Hamilton, Lopez, foul. He'll go to the line. Foul against Bonzi Wells.
Even though it seems as though the Wizards can't do anything, you can't forget you've got to play both ends of the floor, and Portland has gotten a little lax in building that 9-0 run. They were the aggressors at both ends of the floor. Suddenly they're letting the Wizards do whatever they want. Wizards have not been able to hurt Portland. Lopez gets the free throw. Here in the fourth quarter of play, 4 points scored by the Washington Wizards in almost 7 minutes, including the free throw by Felipe Lopez. Heidi White back in. Strickland back out on the floor.
And Lopez converts a pair. Blazers can assure themselves a winning record on this road trip with a win. Dale Davis delivering and foul. Pippen the assist. Davis the dunk. Adding to the Blazer dunk total, now 7 tonight. And Davis to the line for a free throw.
With someone grabbing his arms, and Dale Davis still powers it in and has a chance for a three-point play. Mitch Richmond back in. Lopez down.
Juwan Howard the foul, his 4th. And Davis converts the three-point play.
Every time Howard catches the ball, the home crowd here booing Juwan Howard, and that's really in part due to his play against Rasheed Wallace. 3-second violation, White.
And the Wizards, who came out with poise and hot shooting in the first half, it's deteriorating here in the 4th. Blazers on a 12-1 run over the last 4-10. Sabonis. Dale Davis wasn't quite ready for it. Blazers turn it over. Strickland. Richmond. Richmond with 22, and the Blazer lead is 13.
Since the Wizards are giving you any shots, just move the ball, move people, don't make mistakes in a quick pass and trying to get an entrance in. And Dunleavy saying, what about the hold? You didn't see the big fella get his hand held by Heidi White.
Some of the 14,000 plus here at MCI Center heading for the exit. As the ball foot blocked and shot clock reset to 14. Hamilton. Richmond. And Mitch Richmond with consecutive outside jumpers makes it an 11-point contest. Now a trap applied by Washington. Pippen down the lane. Got knocked to the deck, no call. Strickland against Greg Anthony. And Dale Davis the rebound despite the fact that Howard was holding him. And what's impressive about this run, Steve, in the 4th quarter, it was accomplished with Rasheed Wallace on the bench.
Yeah, Wallace
Smith on the bench.
Wallace thought he was going to get the rest of the game off, and now Dunleavy has said, well, you got to go in and give Sabonis a breather. Steve Smith is up as well with 4 seconds on the clock.
Greg with 1 on the clock, rattled out. Steve Smith will also come in. Washington attacking, Greg stealing, hand saving. Blazers look to reset the offense. Savas thought he got fouled, but turning it over. Howard.
Well,
the boos turn to cheers, if only momentarily. And the Wizards within 9. Mike Dunleavy wants a timeout. 2:53 to go in the 4th.
Sometimes you just have to bail on the whole scene. Pack up the Ford Explorer, fire up the V8, put the all-wheel drive to the test, and just get back to basics.
Hey, nature boy, you're burning the weenies.
Oh!
Oh! Ford Explorer, built to get away from it all. And with $1,500 cash back plus 0.9 financing, you can afford to haul a few luxuries along for the ride.
Little to the left?
Check out the full line of Explorers at your Northwest Ford outfitter.
Yes.
Wanna find a number out of town, Verizon has the number down. Whether Tampa Bay or Retail all across the USA, yes. Don't need no area codes to search from coast to coast. 411. National Directory Assistance from Verizon. Find anyone,
Looking for a different deal every day? Then there's nothing like your Northwest McDonald's. Introducing our 99-cent different days, different deals. Like Mondays, when you can get our famous Big Mac for an incredible 99 cents. Or 99-cent 6-piece Chicken McNuggets Tuesdays. Or Big and Tasty Wednesdays for a 99-cent Big and Tasty sandwich. Or Thursdays, when our double cheeseburger is just 99 cents. McDonald's, different days, different deals. A 99-cent deal any day of the week.
At McDonald's, we love to see you smile.
It's time for tonight's Alaska Airlines nonstop score of the night, brought to you by Alaska Airlines. They're the only airline offering nonstops from Portland to all 3 Bay Area airports and 6 in Southern California. Tonight's nonstop score is Steve Smith with 22 points. Call Mike Barrett when you hear the prompt during the 5th quarter show following tonight's game with the name of our nonstop score for your chance to win tickets to an upcoming Blazers game or Alaska Airlines tickets. Steve Smith.
Number 8. Shooting with 3 is Stoudemire with 30. Rasheed Wallace also returned.
For the Blazers, they are back to their starting lineup of Stoudemire, Smith, Wallace, Pippen, and Davis.
Well, they showed you how nervous coaches can be. I don't think the Wizards can win this game, but Mike Dunleavy wants to make sure, so he's got his starting unit back on the floor with 2:53 to play. The Wizards haven't done that much here in the quarter, but trade baskets with Portland. Pressure in the backcourt by Hamilton.
Shot clock at 10, and Kevin Fair with a foul call against Washington, and every Washington foul, this one against Juwan Howard, will result in free throws for the Blazers, and again, Howard hearing it from the crowd.
You know, the fans here at the MCI are thinking about what they had. They had Weber, they had Wallace, they had Howard. Now they only have Howard, and it's hard for them to deal.
Washington fans asking themselves what might have been. And Rasheed misses a pair, but Dale Davis was there for the offensive rebound, had it raked away. Howard backing down and scoring. 7-point game.
All Portland has to do to close this game out is pass the ball and cut to the basket. They'll get a layup. Let's see if they do it. They're trying to go pick and roll. Wallace and Damon Stoudemire, 7 on the clock.
Damon on the penetration, tough shot, and he hit it. Under 2 minutes to go. Blazers over the century mark at 101-92. Hamilton holding against Pippen.
They give the ball to Hamilton knowing that he can make a shot for himself with his quickness trying to get to the corner.
And that's exactly what he did. He created his own shot.
But as you look, and Rod Strickland looked at the clock, it's 1:30 and counting, and unless Portland makes a turnover, it's going to be 24 seconds before they get their hand on it, or Portland's going to see a chance to score. Pick and roll again. Wallace and Damon Stoudemire.
Damon trip, hands to Dale, and Dale Davis was looking for a foul. Nobody's going to blow a whistle. Hamilton loses it out of bounds. Blazer ball. And a big turnover that was, because if the Wizards could have made it a 5-point ball game, things might have gotten really interesting. And neither team taking good care of the basketball here in the 4th.
Well, the Wizards are in that teasing position. They're teasing the coach, they're teasing the fans, but they really just don't have the wherewithal to close out the game. And, you know, they're trying to play catch-up. Everything has to go perfect in order for them to do so. So you can almost count on Portland winning this game. And it's just a question of how.
Rod Strickland commits the foul against Damon Stoudemire as you look at Leonard Hamilton.
When the Wizards allowed Portland at about the 7:50 mark to get a double-digit lead, basically psychologically were broken. And since that point on, Portland has not had the same aggressive attitude. They haven't been moving the ball, moving people, so it looks as though the Wizards are making a run, but it's been a series of Portland mistakes. Damon, 1 of 2.
And Washington calls for timeout. 52.5 to go in the game. The Blazer lead is 8. 102-94 Blazers.
.9% APR financing on Tacoma. One very powerful V6 compact truck. Now look closer at one incredible opportunity to get 3.9% financing on a 2001 Tacoma. That's super low 3.9% APR financing when you buy any new Tacoma regular or extra cab with the highest towing capacity and the highest ground clearance in its class. Look closer at your Toyota dealer today. 3.9% APR for a Tacoma, yes!
In the beginning, there was the business suit. Then things went casual. California casual. Midwest casual. New England casual. Career-threatening casual. Fortunately for us, there's Northwest casual. The great Northwest Clothing Company. Clothes for the way we live around here. Available at Fred Meyer.
Tonight's game has been brought to you by Dial 411, Verizon National Directory Assistance. Locate anyone, anywhere. By Jack in the Box, where we don't make it till you order it. By Fred Meyer. What's on your list today? You'll find it at Fred Meyer. And by Toyota. More choices, better selection. Experience Toyota today. Well, the Washington Wizards epitaph about to be written here tonight. Blazers have won the last 3 in this series and are looking to make it 4 in a row. They're also looking to make it 4 straight here at MCI Center in as many ball games.
Well, the Wizards go real small, and that's going to get Dale Davis out of the ball game. They had Dale Davis out on the floor, and they brought Felipe Lopez back. They're thinking 3. Let's see if Richmond can get one up for Richard Hamilton.
Bonzi Wells in the ball game.
Well, their problem is they can't take a lot of time to get the shot. Hamilton.
That one bricking off the backboard. Pippen the rebound. And that'll be your door slammer. Blazers with 10 on the shot clock. Two to shoot. Damon. Beat the buzzer. Hamilton against Wells. Bobbled.
When they say you can shoot, because it doesn't matter. Richard Hamilton, without a conscience, fighting the defense, throws up an air ball to close this one out.
Blazers win it 104-94 over the Washington Wizards. The Blazers now 8-5 on the season, 4-2 on the road trip. Our post-game show is coming next.
I told my father I wanted to grow up to be a teacher. Wouldn't you rather be a doctor? He said. It's a noble profession and you could become wealthy. That may be true, I said. But without teachers, where would doctors come from?
Traction ready. At Les Schwab, it means selection. In stock, over 500,000 snow tires, being delivered day and night. Each employee dedicated to make sure you get the snow tires that are right for you. Studs or studless. Put them on snow wheels to save time and money. Chains, a complete selection, featuring quick fit. Easy on, easy off. Batteries, too, for cold winter starts. Check your list and check in. Les Schwab, traction ready for you.
You beat it up, throw it through the mud a couple times, add a little sweat, and just when you think it can't possibly take any more, it becomes the perfect fit. The same applies here, Chevy Silverado. With a more powerful V8 than any half-ton 4x4 pickup. And now get as low as 1.9% APR on the 2001 Silverado half-ton extended cab. 1.9 financing can give you up to $2,600 in finance savings. Get the 2001 Silverado at your local Chevy dealer now.
When you pull into 76,
Come on, move it, guys!
you've got something in common with the drivers in NASCAR. Because for over 40 years, NASCAR has chosen 76 as their official fuel. And now they're 76 with new Pro Power. It's cleaner burning for more powerful performance on and off the track, no matter what you drive. Get the spirit of NASCAR. Get the spirit of 76.
Blazers defeat the Wizards 104-94 here at MCI Center. 76 and the Blazers have teamed up once again to refurbish city basketball courts. 76 donates $100 to Portland Parks and Recreation for each three-point field goal made by the Blazers during Blazers television games. In tonight's game, the Blazers with 6 three-pointers, adding another $600 to the points for Parks total. That brings the donation to for the year to a total of $2,800. Pete Pranica, the snapper, Steve Jones. Blazers win it by 10. Steve, they entered the fourth quarter up 5, and despite some turnovers, they were able to build it back up. Greg Anthony, long range in the first half, long range in the fourth quarter too.
Well, it was Anthony that really spearheaded the charge in busting the game open and building the lead to 13, a steal, and Anthony was able to connect almost he had the torch going, he felt it, and every time he looked at the rim, he felt it was going to go in, so he stayed in an attack mode, and that really kind of surprised the Washington Wizards. He finishes it off with a 4-point play, and at that point, the game is basically in the bag for the Trailblazers, and the Wizards are playing catch-up from that point on.
A guy who played aggressively all night long, both ends of the floor, Scottie Pippen.
Well, Pippen, he did a lot of good things, but I think he recognized in the second half that he was going to have not only some chances to score, but he was going to have some chances to make plays all the way around, and so he was just more focused and staying involved. You've got a smaller Richard Hamilton on you. You know you're going to see the ball. You know there's a lot of things you can do with it, so that accounts for a better night at the offensive end for Scottie Pippen.
Mitch Richmond is a proud Warrior, and he didn't want Steve Smith to get the best of him, so he had a big night, did Mitch.
Oh, they went at each other, and it's a good offensive display. As I said before, Richmond is not the offensive force that he was at Sacramento because they don't run everything for him, but he still shows you that he's got the stroke, and maybe they should, but Richmond came down on his own, and when the game was in doubt, he kept them in contact, but it still wasn't enough, as Washington, a jump shooting team, needed every shot to go down the stretch, Richmond included. They couldn't get it done.
Well, Richmond couldn't get it done, but Rod Strickland did his best to try to get Washington over the hump.
Well, Rod Strickland, I think at this stage of his career, doesn't penetrate as much as he used to, but still he's a forceful player at the offensive end. With his perimeter play improving, Strickland made some good opportunities whenever he's in the open court, and again, Rod Strickland is Rod Strickland and a very competitive guy, but they need to find a system where they all work better together.
Blazers win it by 10. More postgame from Washington after this.
Don't you wish everything was as dependable as a Chevy? Impala received a 5-star frontal impact crash test rating for both driver and front passenger. That's something that Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, and Dodge Intrepid have not accomplished. Now lease a 2001 Impala for as low as $260 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for important lease details. Impala, part of the family of dependable Chevy cars. Now lease Impala for as low as $260 a month.
Thank you for calling. All our operators are busy. Please stay on the line. All our representatives are currently working with other customers. We're sorry. Please continue to hold your call. Thank you for holding. Please stay on the line. If you do not have a PIN, press answered in the order. Thank you for calling.
At Country Companies Insurance, you'll speak to a real person in 60 seconds or less. We're the only company that guarantees it. Country Companies Insurance. Real people, real answers, real quick.
Some cars get Jiffy Lube's signature service every 3,000 miles. And some cars don't. Jiffy Lube's signature service is complete car care using Penn's Oil and Quaker State products. Does your car get it?
7-layer burrito from Taco Bell. 7 distinct flavors, all working in harmony. Beans, rice, lettuce, tomatoes, smothered with sour cream and guacamole, and topped with 3 cheeses for a pitch-perfect taste. Also, new 7-layer nachos, just 99 cents at Taco Bell.
What just happened here doesn't need this car.
104-94, that's your final score. The Blazers beat the Wizards here at MCI Center. Steve, when we take a look at the final numbers from tonight's ball game, you see that the Blazers dominated pretty much wire to wire, start to finish, category to category.
No, they did, and everybody got to share the wealth. And you look at the final numbers, you'll see Portland had 7 players in double figures, but their percentage stayed up throughout the ball game, came off to 57, but you close at 50. That's a real good offensive night. The Wizards ended up getting more offensive rebounds, but they had more trouble getting them back in. A good scrambling job by them in terms of being a small team, but Portland dominated the defensive glass and a big differential, which was close at the break. From the free throw line, Portland got some more opportunities but missed, and their number dropped when they were shooting it very well at the break. Turnovers almost evened out as they were 8 and 7, so they did about the same thing in the second half of play. Portland had more assists, which means that they had more ball movement, player movement, as the Wizards had to get a lot of shots off of individual efforts.
Take a look at our top performers for this evening's ball game won by the Blazers. A lot of guys playing well for Portland tonight. Steve Smith leading the way with 22. As you said, Steve, very balanced attack. Greg Anthony with 17. Rasheed Wallace with 14 points. Mitch Richmond leading the way for Washington with 24. Strickland with 16. And Richard Hamilton, a guy who shows a lot of promise, maybe a little undersized, needs to bulk up a little bit, had 14 points.
I mean, Hamilton's going to be a player, but he's got to get stronger. At the position that he plays, strength is one of the requirements, and that's something that he doesn't have right now. Wallace's numbers are not nearly as dominating as his performance. I mean, he was the story in terms of shutting down any kind of inside play that the Wizards had hoped to get. I can't believe the official stat only gave him 2 block shots. He was slapping everything back. But in my book, he had about 5 or 6 block shots tonight, which would have been a backup to what he had in Orlando. But a tremendous job by Wallace in anchoring the defense, and then it was just get everybody involved. They had a good time in winning this game.
Blazers as a team with 8 blocks. See's Candy. This beautiful Thanksgiving candy basket will go to Blazers assistant coach Mike D'Antoni for appearing on today's pregame show. So our thanks to See's Candies for that. Now, tomorrow it's going to be a team in the Milwaukee Bucks. George Karl, always an interesting team. Sam Cassell, Ray Allen, Glenn Robinson. Give us a preview. Well, it's a giddy-up game, and so the Trailblazers have to be ready to play from the get-go. Milwaukee is like this team, and they're small and undersized, but they're better in doing some things defensively, try to force some turnovers, so Portland's got to take better care of the ball, but this is going to be a high-scoring contest. Last year's game, one of the best Portland played. Blazers won both games between the two teams. We'll see you tomorrow from Milwaukee. Now for Steve Jones and the rest of our Blazer broadcasting crew here in Washington, D.C. The final score, the Blazers beat the Wizards 104-94. Gotcha.
This has been a presentation of Blazer.